At some of our national and international headlines for this particular Friday morning. It is March 24th, 2017. In London, that attack on Wednesday, they've identified Khalid Masood as the killer. He was shot dead during the attack, so he's not going to have a trial, and they're not going to be able to find any kind of motive or anything else like that. However, he was a middle-aged fellow that apparently didn't have much of a criminal record except for some minor stuff. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister has vowed defiance as the House of Commons condemned the sickening terror attack at the heart of London. She said, quote, "They will not silence our democracy." Meanwhile, in a similar situation in Antwerp, Belgian police found knives and a shotgun in a car after a man tried to drive into a crowd. Pedestrians had to jump out of the way. It's very similar to what happened in London on that bridge. The State Department here in the United States is likely to approve a Keystone pipeline permit by the end of the weekend. So we're looking at that Keystone XL pipeline is actually coming from Canada, going down right through the heart of America. And Trump, that's one of the things that he promised to do. Looks like that is likely to get pushed through sometime this weekend, and it will likely then be built at some point. North Korea held another missile test, or tried to. The missile exploded just seconds after launch on Wednesday morning. And in the Ukraine, a former Russian politician, he actually emigrated to Ukraine from Russia back in summer, I think, of last year, 2016. He was killed. It was a murder. And then in the shootout, the killer was shot, and they tried to save the killer's life in hospital, but he died there. Now, Kiev has turned around and accused the Russians of this being some kind of a hit. Don't know if they figure that since the guy emigrated from Russia, it must be Russia's fault that he got murdered in Ukraine. Meanwhile, in Russia, Jehovah's Witnesses have been suspended over claims of extremism. This is the new Russian law. It says if a religious group is accused of extremism, they basically have to prove they're not, or prove they've fixed the problem, or else they'll be shut down. And Jehovah's Witnesses have now been shut down. There will be a court case in April to decide whether it is permanent. The United Nations has reported that some 300,000 civilians in Damascus are at risk of starvation because of the fighting there. In some cases, they haven't been able to get basic supplies for months. And it looks like we've got that health care bill kind of in limbo yesterday, and it didn't look like the White House had the votes to pass it. We'll have to kind of examine where it all came down. Also, House Intelligence Chair Nunes has apologized for how he handled the revelations surrounding Trump and his aides. And Israel has picked up a 19-year-old, charging him with threats over Jewish centers worldwide. Looks like Russia is developing some new air defense missile systems for an Arctic deployment. It should be done sometime this year. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Russia has made a list of words and gestures that should be avoided if you're going abroad. It's actually probably a pretty good idea for everybody to take a look at that list, whether or not you go abroad, because there are certain things that just are plain rude that we don't realize we're doing. Anyway, take a look at it, see what you think. And if you like what I'm doing, support me at my website by buying a subscription. You'll get a full 30-minute version of both national and Alaska news emailed directly to your inbox every morning. RadioFreeSpeech.com.